So I think it's just a short period of time. We've seen it stabilize pretty steady at $65. Expect it to have to rise up on spot. Term stuck at 80. Expect that to have to go higher as well to get the underpin contracts that these new projects need to get built.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by GoviEx Uranium CEO, Daniel Major. Daniel, very good to speak with you. You filed a draft environmental and social impact assessment for your Muntanga uranium project in Zambia. So momentum building for the project.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we obviously had to get the feasibility study done first, which was the first part of that, defining how the project would look. That then ties into the environmental side of that because we now know what the project looks like. That document was filed on Monday. We now wait for ZEMA, the Zambia Department for Environment, to come back with their comments to that. I'm hoping that we don't get very many. It's a very clean project. I think environmentally, there were no real highlights that come through, which is great, and very much part of the design of the way we look at things. You know, we look at how we're going to deal with dust, how we're going to deal with water, how we're going to deal with noise. You know, any risks to the community, any risks to the thing. They're all part of the engineering design phase anyway. So that process goes through. We now wait for their feedback. We'll deal with their feedback. The target would be sort of third quarter, fourth quarter, we'll get the approvals for it. So that means we'll have our mining permit and our environmental permit. So subject to financing, we'll be able to start construction.
And Daniel, you did point out in the RNS, in the statement, that it's one of the few near-term uranium projects with the potential to meet a looming supply deficit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the most recent Red Book that came out, I mean, that highlighted there's lots of uranium in the world, but the problem is there's a lack of projects and a development timeline for those projects to meet the supply gap. And certainly in any of their scenarios that they had from sort of 2029, 2030 in their scenario, a bigger and bigger supply gap coming forward. And I think that's one of the aspects that we're seeing as well, talking to the utilities. There are a lot of utilities who've got lack of commitments in their books already for 2028 onwards. And we're starting to see a number of developers deferring their project starts, saying that the current uranium price is not high enough to justify those, and we need to see higher prices. So, you know, it's got to be higher than $80. People I know watch the spot market as an indicator. That spot market has to go up as well, and expect it to go through. If we want these new projects to be built, price has got to go higher, and they have to be built. Otherwise, that supply gap is going to force the spot price and the contract price a lot higher.
So what's standing in the way of the higher uranium prices, Daniel?
I think we've had a period of uncertainty for quite a while this year, as both traders and utilities have been trying to understand where we were going to be on tariffs. The current position that's understood by the market, there are no tariffs on uranium from anywhere. And we've just gone through the WNFM conference last week, where the utilities have all sat down and the suppliers and traders, etc., had gone through this issue and then trying to understand the impact on the economic growth going forward. And certainly talking to a lot of the utilities, they still have commitments to build new reactors in the US, etc. Their biggest concern, obviously, is, you know, power supply demand going forward. Do we have risk on recession, etc., and those kind of things. So there's a lot of expectation and a lot of demand to go forward and build. But obviously, what's happened in the US has created uncertainty for a period of time. But even in the worst case scenario for the Red Book, there was a supply gap. So, you know, it needs to be filled. So I think it's just a short period of time. We've seen it stabilize pretty steady at $65. Expect it to have to rise up on spot. Term stuck at 80. Expect that to have to go higher as well to get the underpin contracts that these new projects need to get built.
Daniel, I hope you'll keep us updated on progress with Muntanga. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you very much.